everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. As Kai said, I am Krystal Taylor, and it is absolutely my honor and pleasure to be here today to talk about a topic that is so important right now. People are tired, y'all, but burnout is way beyond being tired. So today we're going to talk about it, not just what it is, but also how to help you move beyond that, whether you are a team member or a team leader. All right. So if you weren't on here earlier, I made a disclaimer that my clients love to call me the water bully because I encourage people to drink water. So I'm asking that when you see me drink water, you do the same and type sip in the chat. So cheers. And then if you just happen to be drinking water and you didn't see me drinking water, you type sip in the chat and I will reciprocate. I love it. I see all the sips and the cheers. Let's get to it. So as Kai said, I like to have an interactive conversation. This is a conversation. This is not a training. This is not about me speaking at you for the next 45 minutes. This is about me presenting information, but I want you all to also give me your feedback, ask your questions. It's not about waiting for a specific Q&A session at the end. I want to help you real time. So I am keeping my eye on the chat. So if you see me look over, that's why I'm just making sure that I'm not missing any messages. So if we are ready, let's get into it. As a matter of fact, let's practice. I see you all typing the sip, but if you're ready, type ready in the chat and get ready for a lot of questions today. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's get it. All right. So what are our goals today? We're going to talk about what some of the signs of burnout are, what causes burnout, then of course your action steps. So if before we get into the definition of burnout, I would love to hear from you all. If you had to define burnout, what would you say it is? How would you define burnout? And y'all, just to give you a heads up, when you see me pull my microphone close, that means I'm about to be dramatic, or I just really want you to hear what I'm saying in the back. But because your messages are private, y'all can really talk today. And because I won't say your name, so I'm gonna ask some questions and feel free to be as open as possible. So I see a lot of you are saying that is exhaustion, it's fatigue, it is feeling tired all the time, exhausted, overwhelmed, feeling of constant exhaustion. Ooh, overwhelmed. This is you all are basically on the same page, being worn out. Awesome. Being physically and mentally exhausted from external sources. I love that. Zero motivation, total exhaustion. Okay. Awesome. So y'all are in it. So let's get into what the actual clinical definition is. So definition is officially burnout is officially recognized as a chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed, resulting in a state of physical and emotional exhaustion. Let's break that down. Now, there's a difference between being tired. There's a difference between being fatigued. But the word that I really want you all to pay attention to in here is chronic. Chronic means that it is long lasting. It's not about having a busy day. We all have those. It's about when it feels like it's constantly happening. And as you see, it hasn't been successfully managed, which means it has not been addressed. So it's just piling up so much that now you do feel exhausted. And exhaustion was the word that most of you use. So at this point, it's as if you can't really focus. So some of the things that you may notice, some of the symptoms of this exhaustion and burnout, you may notice that you may feel numb. We hear emotional exhaustion sometimes, but that is when you're numb. You don't feel excited about anything. You're not even happy about anything. You're just going through the motions. Sometimes you may notice that even your body is tired. You may struggle with getting out of the bed in the morning. You may struggle or possibly start bypassing your workouts because you just feel absolutely tired. Then you may become a Debbie Downer or a Donald Downer. Why do they always put a woman names on there? But a Debbie Downer, where you can't see the silver lining in anything. I'm a huge, if you can tell, I have a lot of energy. I like to smile. I like to be positive, and I love to find the silver lining in everything. But there are times when some people can't even receive the silver linings that are presented to them. And if you notice that that's you, that's happening, then you may be close to burnout. You may just start detaching, whether it's from work, whether it's from your social life, maybe it's your personal life, because you're tired and more than tired. You're exhausted. You're overwhelmed. You may start feeling as if everything that you're doing is wrong. Let's take a sip, y'all. Sip. Because When you get to the point where you are burnt out, you can't see. It's like, you know how they talk about when you're happy, you have on rose tinted lenses. It's almost like with burnout. And when you get to that point of feeling completely exhausted, now it's almost like mud cover, right? So you don't see anything good, even in your own performance. So you're like, if I'm not doing it right, why even do it? Why? And then maybe sometimes you do start slacking. Maybe you're missing deadlines. Maybe you're missing meetings. Maybe you are just completely dropping the ball. If you notice that that has happened, then this training is probably for you. All right. Oh, I see burnout is a response to disrespect in the workplace. Oh, we're going to talk about the causes. I like that. A lot of burnout being a mom. Oh, ma'am, please say it again. I find that I'm very sensitive to the politics going on in our division. I'm older than the leaders and feel I have no opportunities to contribute ideas or recommendations. Why is this burning me out, and why doesn't it affect others as much as me? You know what? We talked about that with the definition. It's chronic and it's not being successfully managed. So when you are constantly giving, and we're going to talk about what leaders can do to help reduce this burnout, please stay tuned because we're going to address that. That's a really great question. Thank you for that. All right. So let's talk about what you all said is going on with you. So a poll was sent out and you were asked, how often do you feel emotionally or physically drained at the end of your workday? Are you all looking at these numbers? Now, it's great that it's not everybody saying that it's constantly, but constantly is enough. Those numbers are huge. Most people say occasionally, and that's good. Some days are harder than others. That's doable. That's manageable. And I see some of you posting this, responding in the chat saying frequently. But the majority of people saying, yeah, it's occasional. But right behind that is frequently, and then right behind that is constantly. And if you put frequently and constantly together, they way outnumber the occasionally. So that means that the majority of people do feel stressed at the and drained. Not just, whoa, that was a busy day, just drained where you get home and you probably don't have the energy for anything at the end of your day. Then we also asked you, which of these have you experienced this month? Let's go through these. The leading response was feeling irritable or impatient. How many of you felt that? I see all of the above. Look, thank you for being honest and transparent. How many of you are struggling with your sleep, even staying asleep? Because when we're stressed out, you know, we think that burnout is that, what do they say? Tired, but wired feeling. You feel exhausted, but your brain can't stop going because you're thinking about all of these things. And I feel like I can't sleep enough. A lot of them, somebody says sleep. What is that? See? Oh, and I'll tell you all too, outside of being a water bully, they call me the sleep bully too. So I'm going to encourage you all to try. And we're going to talk about some things that can help relax you so that you can sleep. But a lot of you aren't sleeping because of the stress that you're experiencing at work. You're not able to concentrate. You're exhausted. You're dreading going to work. That's the hardest part. That is the hardest part. I'm a firm believer. Let me back up. I'm a firm believer that the majority of us got into what we do because we love it in some type of way. And when it goes from loving what you're doing to dreading it, that's a big sign that you're burned out. But luckily, some of you said none of the above. For those of you who said none of the above, bless you. Bless you, bless you. And let's keep trying to go with that. All right. Somebody says sleep. Ain't nobody got time for that. I see. Why is wellness, which should be a solution to burnout, so hard for benefits people to sail to the C-suite? Oh, we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that. But I'll just give you a quick answer before we go into that. Sometimes we know, and I'll tell you, I'm a very honest, transparent person. We know that when it comes to businesses, the bottom line, that bottom number is what's important. And sometimes the wellness of the human resources, that's what they call the human resources, the people, that bottom line may not be as tangible, right? But then that's when we hit with numbers on how much money is being lost when employees have to take personal days. How much money is being lost when employees are so burnt out that it's impacting their health. So now there are extra copays and medications that need to be bought, right? So it has to be from the top trickling down to understand that. But at the end of the day, it is about the bottom line. But we're going to talk about that a little bit too. That's a great question. Great question. I see someone said, I need to be in that field of none of the above. I tell you. And you're not late. You're right on time. You are right on time. All right. So let's talk about the main causes of burnout. Did y'all have any water recently? Sip up. I know I'm going to drink more water than you all because I'm talking. But you're welcome. You're definitely going to be hydrated by the end of this 45 minutes. All right. So what are the main causes of burnout? 65% said lack of recognition. And that was just in the chat earlier. When you are working, and you feel like nobody is recognizing you. Yes, we love what we're doing. And we don't do it for the recognition, but it would be nice. It would be nice. It would be nice to say, Krystal, you know what? Thank you for staying later. Thank you for going above and beyond. Thank you for thinking outside of the box. Thank you for taking on this task because we're understaffed right now. Thank you. A thank you can go so far. You don't have to buy me a watch or a mug. And I'll say too, it is the type of recognition. I did a training recently and they talked about that for 20 something years, they got a mug. They were like, seriously, I give you 20 years and I get a mug? And a lot of us are doing extra work, but we're not getting that recognition. Just a thank you. It goes a long way. Now, I'm going to take a sip of this and I feel like I wish I had some tea. I have some coffee, but I feel like thank you for the sips. I appreciate it. I feel like I need to look away. You know how they say when you sip your tea, look away, because I don't want anybody to think I'm talking directly to them, even though I can't see you all. But I'm just going to say this. What also happens is poor leadership. And we have to put that on the table. And we're going to talk about the different things that leaders can do to help address the issues that their employees may be feeling that are leading them to burnout. Because as a leader, let me touch on this for just a little bit right now. A leader means that you do have to have emotional intelligence. A leader means that you do have to be in tune to your staff. What's going on with them, not just if they're hitting their marks. But we're going to talk about that in more detail a little bit later. All right. What else? 30% of you said vague roles and responsibilities. And I see, how do we deal with leadership that has zero EQ? Oh, let's touch on that real quick. What I've learned is that sometimes it's almost, I don't know if you all have read or heard Mel Robbins' book, Let Them. The premise of that book, y'all see I pulled the microphone close because we need to talk about this. The premise of that book is not allowing yourself to be stressed out by what other people and outside sources are doing, right? Oh, you're all loving, you're reading and listen to it, good. But it's about, and the second part of let them is let me. So we could be surrounded by people who don't have emotional intelligence. There are a lot of them out there. What we have to start doing is stop expecting them to have it. The expectations, when we have expectations, that also could lead to failure, which can lead to burnout as well, right? Because if we're expecting for people to pick up on what we're saying, We're setting ourselves up for failure. I would also encourage this. If you are just expecting, how about we switch that to expressing? And if they're still not listening to what you're saying, then adjustments have to be made in your behavior, in your responses. We can't teach EQ. We can't. Unfortunately, we can't. I can't. And it's not our responsibilities to teach it to other people. So when you have that, and I would say this, unless, no, let me rephrase that. I don't think that's the word I want to use. When it comes to the lack of emotional intelligence in your leadership, if you have expressed to them what is going on and it's still not addressed, then you may need to take a further step to address it in a different way, maybe going to HR, especially if there's something that needs to be addressed. All right. Let me know if that's helped. All right. But then let's go back. Oh, emotional intelligence. Someone said, please define emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence means that you are able to, it's not empathy. You're able to pick up on the cues on the people around you. You're able to understand the different emotions. You're able to understand the different behaviors and move accordingly. And I guess you do have some type of empathy to be able to respond to it. Yep, that's what it is. All right. So going back to the main causes of burnout, 30% of you said vague roles and responsibilities. Give me a microphone. How many of you have been in a meeting and or an evaluation and your supervisor, manager says, this isn't what I wanted? Well, what are you looking for? You should be able to figure it out. How, Sway? How? Without direction, there will be no full solution. So I will say this to jump ahead for my managers who do evaluations, it does not suffice to just say more. You do have to be specific about what those responsibilities are, what the deadlines are, whose role and responsibility is for certain tasks, and be clear on that. We can't expect our team to just work on ideas, because then we're trying to figure it out. And especially if the ball is dropped because the expectations and the responsibilities weren't clear, now that employee feels the pressure of not performing effectively, possibly working themselves harder and being burnt out again. Please let me know if this is making sense to you all. All right. All right. And what else is causing burnout? Digital overload. Ugh. Sip and drink up. Because those phones, Kai asked you all earlier to push your phones away. Those phones are like they're like little gnats, especially if you have every notification on, especially when you're in your computer and you have dings from the chat from your team, dings from the email, dings from your calendar reminding you that you have another meeting coming up. Your phones are going off. There's a lot that's going on. And because we are so connected to our phones and to technology, it's almost like we don't ever get a chance to shut off. And that means when your phones are going off and computers are going off, that means somebody needs you. It needs your response. So when do you get your time? Right? I will tell you this. This is when, we're going to get to the solutions in a little bit, but I'll just share with you. I had to do a few things for my own mental health. There are many times where I have no idea what my phone is. I couldn't care less. Right. And I turned off my notifications. Many of my notifications are turned off. And I've set times to when I will respond to certain things. Something else I don't do. I do not check my phone until after I finish my morning workout. That's my time. That is my time to reduce my cortisol levels and my stress levels before I begin to address anything else. because I'm a firm believer. If it's that important, I would have received a phone call. I'm not going to stress myself over a text or an email. All right. So I just had to say that real quick. Somebody needs to hear that, and you're welcome. I'm off my soapbox now. Thank you for attending my TED talk, but we're going to move on because let's talk about some strategies. And I see there's no time to work out. I want to touch on that very, very quickly because we're going to talk about strategies for my people who are super busy, feel like you don't have time to work out. I'll suggest a couple of things. One, I do my first thing in the morning before the day takes over. Two, the standards to get positive results, just 150 minutes a week. That's it. That's 30 minutes, 5 days a week. That's it. 30 minutes out of your day is literally 2% of your day. That's it. The other 98% is not more important than your mental health. It's not. And I'll also encourage you for my people who feel, and this is not directed specifically at the person who said it in the chat, but this is to everyone who may need to hear this. For anyone, when I saw sip, was that for me or you want me to sip? Either way, I'm a sip. But for my people who feel like they don't have enough time, I encourage you to grab your phone, swipe down, open that menu, go to your battery life, and see how much time you're spending on different apps. If the majority of your time is on social media, games, and things like that, you do have time. It's just a matter of priorities. Exactly. Those 30 minutes do not have to be consecutive. They add up. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And then also something I do, because sometimes it can be a little difficult to find 30 minutes to do workouts. I like to do I call them my sneaky workouts. While I'm washing my hands, I'm doing calf raises. Go to the restroom, do some squats, right? But we're going to move off of that. And let's get back to what these companies can do. I can talk about that stuff all day, but we're here to talk about burnout. But I've spent so much time on exercise because exercise has been proven to be by far the best stress reliever that there is. Unfortunately, it's the most overlooked and the most underused, but it helps to reduce your cortisol levels like nothing else. It increases your dopamine. It increases your adrenaline. It makes you feel better. So I just had to put that out there. Okay. All right. Back to it. So what can you all do for my leaders in here? What can you make sure that you have in place as company-wide to help? One of the first things is to be as flexible as you can be. One thing is, can we talk about how prior to COVID, so many companies fought remote work? Oh, no, no, no. You have to be in the office to be effective. You have to see each other to build that camaraderie. And one of the best things that COVID taught us was that we can still be very effective at home. And now this is also, when I'm at home, when I work from home now, everything is from home. I have my own business. But when I worked in corporate America, I worked more hours when I worked remote. I didn't have the commute. You know what my commute was? From the doggone bedroom to the kitchen to my desk. And then from the desk to the couch at the evening. And in the evening, guess what? I was still sitting there with my laptop on my lap while I was watching TV. So for my companies who may feel that it has to absolutely happen, one thing about COVID is that it has groomed and programmed employees to feel comfortable working at home. And now it does feel like a chore to go into the office because they know that they can still be productive at home. And maybe it's a flexible work week. So maybe instead of a 5-day work week, maybe it's a 4-day, 10-hour work week. How can we be flexible? Are we able to allow them to choose their lunch hours, whatever the case may be, listening to your employees to see what works for them? Maybe it is bringing their children. Maybe it is bringing their pets. What are some things that they're looking for that will make it feel comfortable for them? All right. We talked about recognition. I would say at my one of my former jobs, well, I was over the kudos program. So we encouraged employees, bosses, customers to submit kudos to someone that they who did a great job. And so what I did was I would just send them a certificate. This was a great thing that you did. We want you to know that you're appreciated and valued. Sometimes, and then I would send little small gift cards, $5 to a local restaurant, right? Something simple. Again, just a thank you. That could help. And the recognition, a lot of times that people really appreciate is when it's a public recognition. In your team meetings, take a moment and say, hey, I want to give Robbie a kudos. Robbie has been amazing. Robbie's been showing up. Robbie has been helping everyone. I appreciate what you're doing. Right. And someone said those small gift cards are better than mugs. Yes, because they get to go eat. Everybody likes food. Everyone loves food, right? Something else that you all can do to help with the burnout are wellness initiatives. Having these trainings. Let's talk about burnout. Let's talk about how to eat on the go for if you have employees who are out in the field frequently. Let's talk about sneaking fitness into your day if you're busy. Just did a training the other day about the sandwich generation. And that's when we're stressed and working to take care of two different generations. When you as a company offer those type of initiatives to your employer, you're saying, I see you. You are more than just a number. You are more than just filing papers. I want to make sure that you're healthy and whole. Also, encouraging them to use the EAP. A lot of employees don't even know it's there. Okay. What else can happen is transparent communication. If something's coming down the pipeline, please let them know. No one wants to be blindsided. No one. But when you say, hey, this is what's happening, it's going to be tough. Everybody gets to buckle up. They get to brace themselves and say, okay, let's do this. And not feel as if it is just something that's thrown at them. Because then that's almost the parenting model of do as I say, not as I do, right? You don't deserve a response or an answer. But when it's made known early, it allows people to prepare, right? Because I've always told my boys, it's better to keep up than it is to catch up. So if you know what's going on, everybody gets to move together, right? And then managing that workload. Oh, look, we all know what's the reward for doing something well? More work, right? The chat is going crazy. Then what happens with that is that, unfortunately, sometimes we have those employees and those team members who do well, more work gets thrown at them because they're so great. And then the other team members get to slack off. That is unfair. That is unfair. It has to be spread across. And if those other people aren't doing this well, they need to step their game up. Because what we can't do is burn our star employees out while allowing their teammates to just relax. All right. And I see so true in the story of my career. And it's so hard because some of us are just, just good at what we do. We don't know how not to be good or be great. But then when you realize that they keep throwing stuff at you, it sort of makes you want to say, well, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't do as much. Maybe. We'll see. All right. I see someone says you're really speaking to me with this topic. So hard to get stuck with more all the time. Exactly. So to my team members, what are you going to do? What can you do? How do you reduce the risk of burning out? One thing I want you to do is to start your day, get the big stuff out the way. I don't know if you all have ever, I'm a reader. If you all can tell, I love my books. I have a gang of books behind me, right? And don't judge me because yes, they are color coded. Anywho, one of my favorite books back there is called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And he talks about addressing the big issues first, getting it out the way. Then you can do all the other stuff, because those big things, those are what's going to stress you. And then when you can tackle one big thing, you may take a break and say, okay, let me do the smaller things that don't require as much mental energy, right? So you're still able to get things done, but you are completely overloading yourself. Now, something else I love to do. Yes, eat that frog. Let me see. That's a shame. I know exactly where it is because it's color coded. Here it is. There you go. Eat that frog. There you go. All right. One of my favorite books. And it looks like a little kitty book, but it's a really good book. But anywho, something else I like is a lot of times we'll do to-do lists. To-do lists can seem daunting, right? But when you take the time to time block, that takes it to a whole different level. To-do list, you write out everything. Then you prioritize what needs to be done. And then you say, I'm going to work on it during this time. So from 8 to 9, I'm checking emails. 9 to 9:30, returning phone calls. 9:30 to 11, working on this project. 11 to 11:15, I'm taking a break. Breaks are important. All right. But with doing that, it allows you to relax a little bit. And the author is Brian Tracy. Okay. Something else you can do is using the 52-17 rule. For 52 minutes, you work and you set a timer. You work. You avoid all the distractions, turning off all those alerts. If you're in the office, you put a sign up at your desk or on your door to tell people that you can't be bothered right now. And then for 17 minutes, you stop. Take a beat. You take a breather, and then you come back. Breaks are so important. Rest is part of the process. You know, you hear people say sleep is for suckers and you sleep when you die. No, you don't. You just dead. Right? And that's what happens. If you don't give your body rest, it will take it. Hence the burnout, as opposed to just allowing yourself to say, okay, it's okay for me to take a break. I need that break. Right? And the 17 minutes. Right? And I see in an open plan office, wearing a red or blue or specific color hat can let others know you are immersed on a deadline project. Exactly. Put something up to ask people. Do not just stop by and chit chat. I am working. Okay. Now, something else that's important. Please come on and call me out with a sip. I told you I'm here. I'm here for it. Something else that's very important. Oh, someone asked me, can you specify disconnection during the 17 minutes? That means that you are doing something for you. Maybe you take a quick walk. Maybe you go grab you some water, go grab a little quick snack. Maybe you read. You're not focusing on a task. You're not replying to text messages, not work text messages. Maybe you're having a good time with your friends. Maybe you play a quick game on your phone, something that disconnects your brain from the work. Okay. All right. So this is something else that's very, very important. You have to give yourself credit for what you've done. So taking the moment to write down 3 wins that you've had throughout the day. We are so critical and judgmental of ourselves. And especially when things are busy, sometimes all we see are the negative things. But when we realize we've had wins, that boosts your confidence. You see, I just smiled just saying the word wins. And this is something I want you all to put in the chat for me. There are no such thing as small wins. There are no small wins. Make it easy. There are no small wins. Too often we use that word just. I just. Remove that word from your vocabulary. You're minimizing what you did. So if your win was you cleared out your email, your win is you submitted the project. Your win is you worked out that day. Document those wins boost our confidence. And that's very important, because when we feel good, then that you see I'm smiling, that increases those feel good hormones, and that pushes, excuse me, the cortisol away. reduces those stress hormones. All right. I look forward to taking a shower when I get home. Yes, range it off, as they say, range it off. Get rid of the day. Right. And something else you can do is reflect and journal. Take time to highlight the things that were good in your day. All right. And even the things that you want to work on, that's fine too. But just acknowledging what's going on. A lot of times people say, well, I want to journal. I don't want to just talk about the bad things. It's not about sitting in the bad. It's about acknowledging them, because the body keeps score. The body keeps score. So you can try to tell yourself over and over again that you don't, this doesn't bother you, but your body will say, yes, it does. Yes, it does. So just writing it out, it helps to release it, because if you don't release it, it bubbles up. It's like steam. And then the smallest thing, that's why they say the straw that broke the camel's back, not the brick, not the boulder, the straw. Because when you have not taken the time to release, then anything could send you off. Oh, don't let someone cut you off in traffic. OMG. Don't let someone walk through the store with their phones on speakerphone. That's something that drives me crazy, right? Those things could push you over the ledge if you're not addressing them. Right. And I saw someone said, reading and writing affirmations. Absolutely. That's something. I keep this notebook at my desk. I write myself an affirmation every morning. Just one. And I've been doing this ever since July 9th of 2021. And it just helps. Sometimes you just have to hype yourself up. Okay. Y'all doing good? Yeah. Oh, and the elevators too. Yes. Anywhere public. Why is your phone on a speaker? But anywho, so let's talk about some things that are actually working. What are some of these companies doing to help their employees reduce their chances of getting burned out? And these aren't just things that are nice ideas, like they're actually doing it. So there are companies like Microsoft and LinkedIn who aren't just telling their employees to take care of themselves. They're actually building in time for it. Like they've actually structured think weeks and weekly reflection hours where, the deadlines, Slack pings, all of those things, get rid of those to allow them to actually think. And what's happening from that is that employees are reporting that they have experienced a 28% increase in satisfaction at work. Don't we want that? As a team member, we want to feel satisfied. As a team leader, we want our employees to feel more satisfied. And with that, they've been able to be more creative. And you know how that makes people more productive and how far the company goes with that? At the end of the day, people perform better when they're able to just breathe and have some space. So when it comes to visual progress tracking, going from just all these to doggone to-do lists to actually seeing results, Salesforce, they moved away from those basic to-do lists. They created what they call accomplished boards. So these are visual boards where employees can actually track and celebrate what's being done and not just what's left, because you'll see that, oh, we still have to do this. No, they put that on the board, what they did. And why is that important? It reminds people of those wins we just talked about. Even on those tough days, we might still have a lot going on, but look at all that we've already accomplished. It's making people feel like they've made progress. The boards are called, they're accomplished boards. Accomplished boards. All right. So it's helping them to see their effort, helping to reduce that burnout. And then we keep talking about these recognition programs. If you leaders are not picking up on it, recognition. And Zappos is great at that. I can't tell y'all what they call their department. Y'all Google it. Look it up. But I know because I've been to Zappos and we couldn't do the tours right at COVID, but been in their trainings. But they're amazing at recognizing their employees and they're public about it. So what's happening is turnover is dropping by 31%. Come on now, because we know that it costs 7 times more to get a new employee than to retain them. So these are things that we want to make sure that we're paying attention to. All right. What else is happening? Put what else you all can do, put these digital detox policies in place. Allow the opportunity for them to step away from all of the slacks, from all the pings that are going on. And then can we be honest about something, y'all? Technology is here. AI is here. I got it. AI is here. So instead of pushing away and running from it, how do we use AI to improve our performance? AI is amazing when it comes to brainstorming, creating outlines, right? Something else we can do for technology, encouraging them to use those wellness apps. A lot of companies offer free subscription to apps like Calm to help with meditation. And then also the scheduling systems that are going to help keep them on track. All right. So that they don't feel completely burned out. Now, how do we create this anti-burnout culture? Leaders, you have to look at your people as people. Think about how you would want to be treated. What would you want people to acknowledge and recognize about you and what's going on with you? And not just treat them as a robot who comes in to make the company money. How do you keep them happy? Right? How do you help them feel like they still belong? Ask them questions, encourage their feedback, encourage their input. And then when you ask them how they're doing, mean it. When you do their check-ins, mean it. When you say, no, seriously, how are you today? How can I help you? What do you need? And so when we're changing these policies in the office, like possibly, oh my goodness, the way we had to fight for jeans on Friday, my goodness. Keep the people in mind. It's not just about these old school philosophies anymore. It's really not. It's about what people are looking for. All right. So as we close out, I want you to think about what insight you've gained from this training. And in addition to that, what's one small step that you can take this week as a leader to take care of your team, or as a team member to take care of yourself? So with that being said, I appreciate you all so much. Please know that here at BLI, there are hundreds of trainings that could help you and your company get whatever you're looking for, especially with your wellness initiatives.